Zaro here, and you're watching Inside Fermentarium, episode 2! ¿Dónde es mi cerveza? If you're a homebrewer, you've already found a use for empty beer bottles. You're filling them up with more beer. Here's a use for empty bottles that you may never have thought of. Back in the 1950s, brewer Albert Heineken and John Heineken had a different idea for empty beer bottles. They reshaped the iconic green Heineken bottle into a square brick called the World Bottle, or WOBOs for short. The World Beer Bottle, once emptied, could build buildings in developing countries. A 10 by 10 shack could be fashioned with 1,000 beer bottles. That's like 41 cases of beer. Before you start making jokes about throwing stones in glass houses, the idea never took off. Only 2 WOBO structures exist, and they're both on the Heineken estate. The bottles never made it to the developing world. Now check this out. A lack of world bottles never stopped the Buddhist monks in Thailand. They fashioned an entire temple after collecting 1 million regular run-of-the-mill beer bottles. The temple is called the Wat Pa Maha Chedi Kayu Temple. It's about 350 miles northeast of Bangkok. Now, if I mispronounce the temple name, my apologies to the monks. That's a hard name to pronounce. The Thai monks started collecting bottles in 1984 to decorate their homes. The decorations looked so cool, visitors started donating more bottles. And the monks started building more structures. I think if I were to build a temple, I'd still use beer bottles and kegs too. Another cool thing I've come across is a big and easy bottle brew. Now, this just might be a cool way to get your friends interested in brewing beer. The Big and Easy Bottle Brew is a 2-liter bottle of wort. The beer kit comes with a capsule of yeast and a specially designed cap to serve as the airlock. The special cap is just a regular screw cap, fashioned with a special bladder to release carbon dioxide at a controlled rate. In short, it's similar to the balloon brewing that your dad might have done way back when puppies were the oldest animals. Now, while this really isn't brewing, it does allow someone to get their feet wet in the fermentation process without worrying about all the sanitation or boiling. The best part about the kit is it does produce good beer, much better than I was expecting, and much better than some of the large brew kits that I've reviewed. Now, I've only tried the Mexican lager, but I've heard great stories about the other ones, and we'll check out the others and review them here on Fermentarium. Are you trying to get more head in your homebrew? Getting that deep, thick head in your beer is really cool and really makes an impression when you serve the beer. There really isn't anything like good head. Head retention is directly related to the proteins in your beer, known as polypeptides. The more protein in your beer, usually the better the foam. Unfortunately, heat causes proteins to drop out of solution in your wort. Now, you might have heard that all grain brewing gives better head retention. Here's why. Malt extracts are heated and then sometimes boiled by the extract brewer. This eliminates some of the proteins in your wort. Then, when you get the extract home, you boil it again. You'll have better luck with head in your beers if you use dry malt extract. Dry malt extract usually is subjected to less heat than liquid extract. I know, it kind of sounds counterintuitive. If you can brew all grain, you're ahead in the game. If not, try to use dry malt extract for most of your fermentables. Another thing to consider is using adjuncts. When you add sugar or other adjuncts, you're diluting the protein content. That's bad. Now, I'm not saying no adjuncts. This isn't Germany after all. But keep in mind, the more adjuncts that you add to your beer reduces a little bit of your head. The last thing to consider are soaps and oils. Ever stick your finger in a foam drink to reduce the head? That's from the oils in your fingers. Soaps and oils will go to town on your head like Godzilla on Tokyo. That's bad. Make sure you're not adding oils to your wort, and of course, make sure you don't have soap in the fermenter. Hopefully these quick tips will help you in the head department. If you've been reading Fermentarium, you know I detest appellations, especially in cases like champagne. You can make a sparkling wine, but to make a true champagne, it can only come from the Champagne region of France. I find this silly because France is always free to increase the size of the appellation to make more money, but places like Champagne, Switzerland cannot use the name at all, even though the Swiss have been using the name for centuries. It's the same for Kolschor port wine. One port style maker has found a clever way to get around the appellation requirements for port. Peltier Station named their wine USB. Now, USB ports are the ports you use to connect your digital cameras, your hard drives, or other devices to your computer. The logo on the bottle contains a binary tree which translates to Peltier Station, and the roots of the tree make the iconic USB symbol. The back label of the port style wine took 3 months to approve. The Alcohol and Tobacco Tax and Trade Bureau stated that they have never encountered someone going so far out of their way to prove a point. I guess they've already forgotten about legal weed, bad frog, Santa's butt porter. Now, I think this is a port wine that really appeals to the geek in me. I need to find this wine so I can try it. And last but not least, let's spread around a little link love. Another Colorado beer blogger to look out for is Eli Shadovich on Confessions of a Beer Geek. He's also one of the hosts of Beer Tap TV and a regular on Illuminati. Most of his posts cover beer reviews and industry news. You'll also find links to his show from Confessions of a Beer Geek. MyBeerBix.com is a visual tribute to beer and the people who love beer. That's us. The blog is run by a wife and husband duo, Beer Molly and Beer Sage. They write about the beers and pubs that they frequent, and Molly posts pictures of the beers that they try. Lots and lots of beer pictures, so go check it out. And with that, I leave you with Halloween in my neighborhood. We take kids out trick-or-treating and follow them around house to house with beer in hand. Like all holidays, we do Halloween very big. Here's my neighbor's version of Disney's Haunted Mansion. Enjoy, and I'll see you next week for another beer on Inside Fermentarium.
Only flirting. Snit.